Welcome to Cocktail Limelight. I'm your host, Eric Castro, and today I'm joined by my dear, dear friend, the lovely and ever-talented Jillian Vose. Jillian.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm doing better because I have you on the show.
I'm very happy to be here. It's always great to be in San Diego.
I'm really psyched for, I guess, the theme that you brought today. Your theme today is drinks that you are drinking right now. The drinks that you're digging, the drinks that you're hyped up on when you're like going out to a bar or making drinks in your house.
Absolutely. I think everything that we decided to make today are pretty accessible. You can make them as a home bartender and pretty much in any bar that's equipped with like the basics. I'm going to do two classics that I've kind of made some tweaks to, and then I'm going to do one of my very own cocktails that's super easy to make.
And to be honest, that's the one I'm most excited to try.
All right.
Because on paper it looks delicious, and I'm afraid it's going to taste even more delicious in my mouth than it does on paper.
It's much better there than not in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's start out with the stirred one.
Okay. Very cool. So we are going to start off with a drink called LUCIEN GAUDIN, like a Negroni variation. And so for those Negroni lovers that want something a little more dry, a little less viscous, and something you can drink up. So we're gonna grab a mixing glass and let's stir a LUCIEN GAUDIN up.
GAUDIN.
It's gonna be dry vermouth. We're gonna do a half ounce of triple sec. Cointreau works delightfully in this cocktail. And a half ounce of Campari. And we're gonna do an ounce and a half of a London dry gin. I like something very classic, and juniper forward, nothing insane.
And that's it? Just 4 ingredients?
4 ingredients, super easy. You know, just make sure your vermouth is fresh. Make this really, really cold. So you wanna make sure that you have a frozen glass. It's a really nice, bright, crisp stirred cocktail. So we're gonna ice this baby down.
It's such a beautiful color as well.
It is, it's like, I mean, Negroni, everybody thinks like, you could say anything with Campari looks the same. I beg to differ. This is thinned out on the color because of...
It's only a half ounce instead of the full ounce that you would get in the Negroni.
Yeah.
I love pink drinks.
Pink drinks.
Damn, that is a beautiful color.
It's nice if you want to, you know, express lemon or orange on there. I'm gonna go with lemon, so we're gonna do that right there. And there you go. LUCIEN GAUDIN, a nice, refreshing, boozy drink.
That is lovely. Just tastes really clean.
Yeah.
Really light. Mm-hmm. It's not like heavy on the palate.
All right, well, I gotta try.
Well, anyway, on to the next drink. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, of course. Give it a try.
You know. Yep, I remember now. It's good. Perfect. Awesome. Well, you want to do something, I mean, this is refreshing for a stirred drink, but we should do something
It really is. I feel like that's like a stirred cocktail, like a Negroni variation that's very friendly for like warm weather. Yeah. So almost like a playful version of the Negroni. It's not quite as heavy. Yeah,
I would definitely agree. It's sometimes for me, like a Negroni is also a very personal drink. So like, I like making Negronis for myself. This is a drink that ordering at a bar, the spec is lighter on the Campari, whereas when you're going to a bar that you're not familiar with the bartender or their specs, you're like, ooh, what am I gonna get if I order a Negroni? This is a nice way to say, you know, if you're at a bar that can make good classic cocktails, they should know this drink. Even if they don't, you know, it's 1.5, half. And most bartenders will understand that lingo, I think. Yeah, just super nice, light, refreshing, easy. So let's get cracking on this shaken cocktail.
Yeah, shaken one. Let's switch it up a little bit.
All right, we're gonna stick with the pink drink. We're gonna do a PENDENNIS Club, which is also gin. And this drink is just it's one of the drinks that I learned about in the early days of me bartending. I'd say like 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
And like when I moved to New York City, I like thought I was gonna order all these like crazy classics at bars, and you know, like so I knew what I was talking about. And this is definitely one that I got into some arguments with. Some of those bartenders are now my friends.
Yeah.
But when I was a fresh face in New York City, They're like, who is this chick ordering these ridiculous drinks? Pendennis was one of them. And it's basically a gimlet, but with a touch of apricot and peach and Peychaud bitters.
I love this
So, yeah, basically take your gimlets back and adjust it with how much lime and sugar that you like and a couple dashes of bitters. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna get a mixing tin. I'm gonna add 2 dashes of Peychaud, which on these guys it's 4. And we're gonna do an ounce of lime juice. And you can adjust this down if you like something sweeter. But we are gonna be adding sugar and some liqueurs. So I find that the ounce just works a little bit better and it fills the glass. The classic calls for no sugar, but we are gonna add sugar because otherwise it's just too dry.
Well, to give it some body, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna do a 1/2 ounce of rich cane syrup.
Which is 2 parts sugar,
2 parts sugar, 1 part water. If you can use actual evaporated cane juice, do it. If you just have your, you know, caster sugar, like white sugar, that's totally cool too. So we're gonna do a 1/4 ounce of apricot and a 1/4 ounce of crème de Pêche. These are both
like stone fruit liqueurs.
So, yes, they're both liqueurs. What I like to do is instead of the apricot liqueur, using apricot eau de vie and then the peach liqueur, and that is another way to kind of give another dimension and a dryness.
Another dimension, new galaxy. Another dimension, another dimension.
Thank you.
Couldn't resist.
The original recipes, I found them printed with apricot and I found them printed with peach. But using both of them just kind of makes everybody happy, and I think it's just better that way. So
I dig it.
I want to stop arguing with everybody and just put both of them in there, you know? And then we're gonna do 2 ounces of gin. I'm using Tanqueray.
Tasty, tasty gin.
Yeah, I mean, it just works so well in your classic drinks, and you know, you really want something that has, you know, good backbone to it, good structure, and that still comes through in the drink.
You gonna garnish it all, or just should I
No,
just
you can
dive
do a
right
lemon twist if you want, but it doesn't really call for it. I think it's pretty good.
That makes 2 of us.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good the way it is as well.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, no time for garnish. You want to drink that puppy like as fast as you can.
Very, very tasty drink. Crisp, brisk, dry, but still fruity. I like it. Very tasty. Wise choice.
Thanks.
All right, Jillian, you've impressed me with these first 2 drinks, both lovely, and also, you know, I respect that they don't have garnish, if they don't need the garnish, you know?
Nope.
But I'm excited to try the 3rd drink, not only because I love the name. It's named apparently after one of my favorite Talking Head songs.
Yep, Psycho Killer.
But also because it's one of your originals.
Yeah, so this is a drink I put together in 2013. I think it was actually put on the menu in 2014 at Dead Rabbit. But it's called the Psycho Killer, and it is a very accessible drink. It's very industry appreciated, and you can kind of make it anywhere in the world. These ingredients are easy to find, and typically at this day and age, most people have these on their back bars or in their homes. And they can also be used in other drinks across the board. So we need absinthe, Campari, a crème de banana, and a crème de cacao, preferably a white cacao, and your choice of Irish whiskey. I like to do something, you know, you could use anything from redbreast to your favorite blend. We're gonna use Tullamore Dew today, which is super versatile and also affordable. Redbreast is like, do you wanna spend $30 on a drink, or do you wanna spend like 15 on a drink? Like, that's where it comes down to. So we're gonna get a mixing glass, do 2 dashes of absinthe, which in these guys is 4. And we are gonna start with the liqueurs, doing a 1/2 ounce of.
I love crème de banana.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's
and Giffard makes just a wildly good one. And a white cacao.
That was 1/2 ounce of that as well?
1/2 ounce of that.
Okay.
And then you're gonna do 3/4 ounce of Campari or other red bitter that's not super sweet. And then you're gonna do 2 ounces.
Yeah.
So This is a boozy drink.
Yeah.
So I would not recommend like drinking this super fast or having more than like 2.
Not boozy, it's generous. It's a generous portion,
I like
but
that.
it's boozy.
So I've already prepped a piece of ice here. So you want to make sure that you have ice prepped like 24 hours in advance if you're at home. And then you want to let it get tempered a little bit. Otherwise, after you pour your drink into a new vessel onto new ice, you don't want it to be so dry that it just cracks.
It'll just shatter.
So,
and it ruins like that crystal clear ice cube, and it's like,
right.
That's
so
why you got it.
Yeah, so this is nice and clear. It's tempered, meaning that it's already kind of melted in a way
like
that's
sweating a little.
It's sweating. And we're gonna
sweating to the oldies.
But we're gonna still cool this down and mix it up, dilute it slightly. You can see that there's a pretty high sugar content and a lot of alcohol in this cocktail, so we need to kind of get it to the point where it's enjoyable, sippable, delicious. So even though we are pouring this over ice, we're still gonna ice it down and dilute it. But keeping in mind that because it's going over other ice, we're not going to stir this until it's 100% at dilution. We're gonna stir it to about 50 to 60%. So keep in mind, like when you're making like an old-fashioned type drink that's going over ice, you're not gonna stir it as long as you would, say, a Manhattan or a martini that's served up. And again, this is a lot of alcohol. It's gonna melt really fast.
I'm super curious to see how this tastes, because it sounds really good on paper.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of like is like, well, that's kind of like an obvious drink, and you're like, is it? Yeah, it kind of is, but nobody kind of did it before. And then I was like, well, this is delicious. The absinthe kind of just gives it a really nice accent. And we're gonna pour that over ice. We could also name this group of drinks no garnish cocktails, because this also does not have a garnish. So
I like when a cocktail doesn't need a garnish.
Sometimes you just...
And they're all pink too?
Yeah.
Or shades of pink?
Shades of pink, no garnish cocktails, and they're all pretty accessible and easy to make.
Dude, the aroma on this is incredible.
That's why you didn't need it. It almost ruined the drink when we tried it with different citrus oils, because it took away that beautiful aroma of the, you know, the anise and the banana and the chocolate. So it was just way better without it, and that's okay. You don't need to have a garnish all the time. Does it add something positive to the drink? If it doesn't, and it gets in your way especially, it doesn't need to be there.
I know. I'm a believer in like, add the garnish, taste it, wait 2 minutes, taste it again.
Especially when you're serving things on ice.
10 minutes. Because sometimes you might find like, oh, the garnish is actually making the drink worse as time goes by.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes it better, sometimes it doesn't.
Right, I mean.
Worth exploring.
Absolutely, and I think that, you know, especially with citrus oil, you have, like, typically there's pith, and there's the oil itself, the skin, and that is infusing into your cocktail, and typically it's not a very nice flavor, and it makes like almost like a puckering, like makes your mouth pucker a little bit.
Like apple pucker?
Like not good. So, you know, and even when you are using citrus oil, like to not swath the side of the glass, because that is not actually nice flavor, in my opinion. So.
I know, could you see everybody out there watching, just watching my face, just like looking at the drink, just waiting to try it? I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep talking. But it's my fault, I was talking too.
You can drink it now, right?
Whoa. That's lovely.
It's nice, right?
There's a lot going on.
It works.
Interesting, yeah.
What's great about the drink, it's really complex ingredients.
There's a lot going on in this drink.
Yeah.
It's really good.
For 4 ingredients and a couple dashes, it's pretty...
I really like this.
Pretty complex, yeah. Thank you.
I think I'm gonna keep this.
Okay, fine.
I'm not putting
you
it
can
with
have
the
that
other
one.
ones. I'm not putting this one with the other ones.
All right.
Sorry, y'all. I'm breaking continuity here, but I'm keeping this one. It's weird because I'm tasting things that aren't in here. I taste coffee.
Yeah.
I taste like tropical fruits, like coconut. There's like other things that I'm getting from it that aren't in there.
I feel like the combination of the liqueurs are actually bringing stuff out in the Irish whiskey, and you know that you wouldn't maybe get with these individual ingredients.
That is lovely.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Jillian, you've kind of blown my mind with some really delicious cocktails here, particularly the Psycho Killer. It's unraveling, I feel like, as it's even just after I've tasted it. There's a lot to get into on that drink, and I think it's absolutely lovely.
Well, thanks. And yeah, that's the beauty of these of drinks served on ice too. They do change, and while you're creating these cocktails to make sure it tastes good after a couple minutes, after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, after 20 minutes even, to make sure that down to the last drop.
As like the flavor blooms.
Absolutely.
You know?
You don't want it to be like crazy in your face when you first sip it, and you don't want it to taste like absolute water by the end of it. You know, there are those people that take like an hour to drink a drink. Like, you can't prep for that. But within reason, most people drink a drink between 10 and 20 minutes. And so seeing how the life of your cocktails goes when you're doing R&D is important to keep in mind.
All right, Jillian, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us. But before I let you go, I want to say if somebody wanted to pick up one of your books, you know, wanted to read about some of your philosophies, some of your recipes, what's the best place for them to pick up your books?
Well, you can find the books obviously at the bar in New York City, Dead Rabbit, which you know, you can buy just from the bar itself, but they're also available on Amazon, and that's super easy. They're typically always available. Mixology Mayhem is a few years old, and it's based on creating cocktail menus and our philosophy behind that. And then Patty Drinks is the newest book we've done, and that is Modern Irish Whiskey Cocktails. Both of those books
I love
feature,
that, by the way.
You know, we thought, why not? Why, if it's going to be anybody, it should probably be us. So compiled 90 drinks from, you know, over the last 9 years, and put together, you know, a timeline of Irish whiskey, how to utilize Irish whiskey in cocktails using flavor wheels and XY charts, and talked a little bit about the different whiskeys available and tasting notes. So it's kind of like a lot of the references that you get from a whiskey book that are in the cocktail book, to actually make your own and be inspired to make your own drinks based on certain flavor combinations.
I love it.
And then kind of a self-published book that we did was called When Whiskey Met Its Match, the story of the Irish coffee. And that also has a foreword by Dale DeGroff and research by Dave Wondrich. And we would love for you to get your Irish whiskey knowledge on and enjoy some of your own creations of Irish whiskey, hopefully inspired by our love for Irish whiskey.
I love it, because I'm telling you, Irish whiskey does not get the love it deserves in terms of like modern cocktails.
No, it doesn't. I think that is going to change, and hopefully that we've been part of that. But it is the fastest growing spirit right now, and I can barely keep up with it. And you know, if you're visiting Ireland, there's so much going on to visit, and it's now becoming, you know, there's so much going on with experimentation within the brand.
It's really cool. It's one of the most exciting categories out there.
Absolutely. I think, like, you know, other whiskeys are starting to kind of branch out as much as they can, but there's so many restrictions, say in Scotch or in certain American whiskey styles. So I think Irish whiskey has a lot of flexibility to be super experimental, and so we're really reaping the benefits of that as bartenders. So get wild with it.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, one more time, Jillian, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure, Eric.
And all of you out there, don't forget to muddle that like and subscribe button. And if you want to dive deeper into the world of craft cocktails, be sure to check out the Bartender at Large podcast, which I host on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else where quality podcasts are found. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and we will see you again next week.